And so let's start off with Ben Shapiro. Now,
yeah. The setup for this is I'm a fan of Ben Shapiro. I think he's a real clear thinker. I like how he differentiates political and constitutional thought from religious worlds, and so he's always a good thinker. And I think it's good to listen to people who are articulate, whether you agree with them all the time or not, just because it helps us with our own thinking process. Anyway, so he did this special 4th of July podcast last week, and somewhere along the line, I didn't listen to the whole thing. It's like 2 hours long, but somewhere in the middle, something caught my ear, and they were talking about what differentiates humans from animals, and this idea of God forming man and giving man life. So man is a created being. And he pulls this, in the original Hebrew card.
And he's an Orthodox Jew,
he's
for those who don't know.
He's an Orthodox Jew, and he's super brilliant mind.
He's like a savant.
Way smarter than I ever imagined myself it could ever be.
He was on Larry King when he was 12.
Yeah, but this stuck out to me, this clip. And so I thought, hey, Caleb, check this out, because we're going to also read an email from Asher, our friend, brother in Singapore, on the Ruach as well, on the use of Ruach Elohim or Ruach Adonai in the Tanakh. And so
okay, hang on just a second. Okay, so go back to Shapiro.
So anyway, I thought, hey, Caleb, let's listen to this.
Okay, hang on just a sec. So I put this link in your show notes, but the link is to the entire thing. It's 2 hours long. We're looking at 19 seconds, and I believe the 19 seconds comes somewhere in between 117 and 119 in the mile mark on there. So
about halfway through, about an hour in.
Here you go.
Which I mean, even in the language of the original Hebrew language, right? When it's talking about God breathing ruach into people, ruach is wind and spirit, right? So that the idea is that it is that life force that gives it that's what makes us unique, right? It's that life force that makes us unique, as opposed to the animals, and that comes along with certain privileges and certain responsibilities.
Okay, so I think everyone heard it, but there's multiple things going on in this clip. Let's keep in mind that even though he's an Orthodox Jew, Shapiro is not a scholar or a theologian. But I think that you caught it best, because you're the one who said to me, that's not what differentiates animals and man. And I think that is the main point. Shapiro's off. This is not right.
And there was just two key things that stuck out to me, and I ran it by Caleb, and we said, let's talk about it. Not because we want to bash on him, but we're saying, look, we're all about clarity of thought, and we're all about insisting on the details matter, right? Details matter because we build thought on details. It's back to the Lego. We don't want to use Duplo Legos. We want to, if we can use the fine little robotic Legos, we're going to be able to accomplish more. And so the 2 points are, one, there's a conflation of Genesis chapter 2 where it says, and the Lord formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into him the breath of life and became a living soul or living being. And then the idea of what makes men different from animals, what makes humans different than animals. Right. And I think he swung and missed on both of those counts. Now, granted, I want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. I doubt when these guys sat down with their cigars and started talking that they imagined that they were going to get to Genesis, the creation account, and start talking about Hebrew. So, he, given the opportunity to do his homework, he probably would have found this on his own, I'm sure. But I want to talk about this word ruach here, because Shapiro says that ruach is the Hebrew behind this Genesis 2 verse 7.
Right.
And I just want, just a fact check point, no, the word ruach is not actually used in Genesis 2:7. It's just nishmat chayim, which is usually translated the breath of life, nishmat chayim. And he also then goes on to say that this ruach, which is actually not there in 2:7, is what differentiates man from beast. But if you continue on, you'll see that during the flood telling, later in Genesis, the word ruach is used for all flesh.
Right.
And everything that's going to die, everything that has in it nishmat ruach chayim, the breath of the spirit of life, will die. And that includes any humans that are not on the ark, as well as any animals that are not on the ark. So the presence of this Ruach Chaim, as in Genesis as it's given in Genesis, is not what differentiates humans from beasts. Rather, it's just the simple fact that humans are clearly, from Genesis 1, made in God's image, where animals are not. So it might seem like we're quibbling, but it was enough of a record bump on a person who's takes thought very specifically. And I think if someone said, hey, and mentioned this to him, he'd go back and he'd go, wow, I would rephrase that. I think he would be totally approachable about this, and he would agree that he parsed it at the wrong place. And so that's
number one. But the ultimate is that, I mean, granted, okay, he misspoke on the word being there, but the ultimate point is that that's not what Ruach is, not what sets us apart.
Right.
And not only Ruach, but even the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, is not what sets us apart. And the reason why is because non-believers do not have the Ruach HaKodesh.
Right. There are humans that don't have the Ruach HaKodesh. Right. So you can see why, Caleb, I appreciate why you titled, because this is going to get into at least two other, Asher and I think a Janet, I think we're going to hear from.
Don't miss any clips from Messiah Matters by clicking the subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share it so other people can see it too.